Hello and welcome to ThePrint. We are at the Shrewsbury School in Bhopal. While Bhopal may not seem the most likely destination for a British boarding school to open its doors, given what one might assume the market to be, the school has opened a 150-acre campus in Bhopal. Shrewsbury School is a 470-year-old British boarding school and is the latest in a list of other British boarding schools like Harrow and Wellington that have made inroads into India. While this may seem extraordinary to some, the Indian market and the Asian market as a whole has become critical to the existence of these boarding schools. Hello. So, Shrewsbury opened in India as of about a month ago. So, can you just give us a sense of why this British boarding school that's over 400 years old, why it's kind of open doors in Bhopal?
So, Shrewsbury, India is a school which is designed to give pupils, young people, the opportunity to genuinely explore where their talents and interests lie and then take those talents and interests towards mastery. And if you're going to do that, you need to have a very ambitious, well appointed campus. So, in order to really put that kind of school together, you need the 150 acres that we've got here in Madhya Pradesh. And as you look around the campus, you'll see that it is quite a project, both architecturally and in terms of civil engineering. So if you're going to build that, you need to be partnering with an organisation that knows the local construction industry very well. And Jagran Social Welfare Society, the proprietor here, is just such an organisation. They're 27 years old, so they've been around for a while, and they've already built 14 institutions from the ground up. Why come to India though? Well, India really is on the cusp of becoming a major global player. It has a very well established education heritage of its own, and the demand for education is extraordinary. It's perhaps surprising that the British schools haven't been coming to India a bit sooner. But as I said, the Indian education system and its legacy schools were very well established. But now I think the Indian families, certainly the families I talk to, are very interested in this whole person education and making sure that their children are being prepared for a world that is changing at an unprecedented rate, and really having the opportunity to genuinely find out where their talents and interests lie, and yes, develop themselves and make the most of those talents and interests, and access great universities around the world is only part of what we do here, and it's really developing those social, emotional intelligence skills and abilities that will help them thrive when they leave here and they don't have our support immediately on hand. And so I believe that actually the demand for the kind of education that we offer here at Shrewsbury, India, is very secure. Part of being here is the fact that in India we can actually deliver this education at a fraction of the cost that it incurs in the UK, and we're quite certain that we will be drawing students not just from across India but globally, and the kind of investment that's been made here in Madhya Pradesh means that we will be creating a school that is a beacon of educational excellence, that's light shines well beyond India, and we would hope to really incorporate all that's great about India into the way that we do things. So we're not looking to replicate Shrewsbury in the UK with its 500-year legacy here. We're looking to make the most of that legacy, most of those traditions, most of the very sound educational thinking that's within our education philosophy, to really make something quite special and make sure that we are preparing children to flourish in the world that they will be joining as adults.
So Shrewsbury is, one of multiple schools that has, made inroads into India. So, can you just explain why, the international market has become so critical for not just for Shrewsbury, but for, other schools as well? If you could just give us like in perspective of that.
Yes, the truth is that the international schools you see growing up around the world, not just in India, that have the big brand names are franchises. So we're a franchise. We're the owner is Jaguar and Social Welfare Society, but Shrewsbury have chosen to adopt a franchise plus model. So they take a great interest in the way that we operate. They're very keen for us to contextualise, to make the most of our location and the culture and vibrancy of India in what we do as a school. But the schools in the UK that are going down this model are doing so in order to subsidise their own operations. So the costs of running a boarding school in the UK are very high and getting higher, and this means that the number of people who can access boarding in the UK is diminishing. And the only way of making it accessible is really to subsidise it with the kind of revenues that come from running franchise operations around the world.
China has long been the leader when it comes to international campuses and continues to be number one. The Independent Schools Council census of 2024 shows that China was the largest source market for UK schools, with 5,824 students. Harrow, which opened in Bangalore in 2023, has campuses across China, including in Beijing, Shenzhen, and Shanghai.
All right. I think there's a huge brand name that we cannot deny. Absolutely, it is an international boarding school which has been in existence for the last four. It's a legacy school. So yes, the brand name is significant. But what is most significant, I think, and as I told before, is the kind of exposure infrastructurally that the school provides in a in the Indian subcontinent. And I think that is brilliant. There's a huge paradigm shift, as I said before, in terms of how we perceive education. It is it is definitely out of math or science classrooms. It's gone beyond, and this campus in itself uh, is in alignment with that perception. So, as a parent, when I get my child here, I know that this is truly holistic in the sense uh, um, in which my child will be educated. There's exposure internationally. There is an alumni that I think will, and she will stand in that internationally. There's also an encouragement and motivation to build up craft that is beyond the classroom and excel at it and be confident in that craft. And I think that in itself is making very confident students. And that is what is a delight to see. That students are very comfortable with what they are good at to pursue those and not to be fearful of whether that persuasion will lead them anywhere. So I think that in itself is a huge paradigm shift. This also reflects in the way parents have believed that this can be done. So the very fact that we have very promising numbers to start the school with, I think again this shows how the perception of education has changed.
So I joined here on 1st of July before the opening of the school, and we set up the boarding house and every other thing here. And I am very fortunate that I am taking care of 40 boys in my boarding house, which is called Arjuna House. So very exciting journey for me. Yes, of course. So now our parents are focusing more on giving their children more opportunities, like not limited to India only, but they want their children to go abroad, join good universities if they wish. And I think this is the main thing which have shifted their focus. Otherwise, also because also concerned about the education, the quality of education. And we have now so many schools, and they are all claiming we are international schools, where whether they are in a street or in a gully, but still they claim we are international schools. So I think the parents who are more aware, they are focusing on the real international schools. So I think, yeah, so when they come to schools like Shrewsbury or Harrow, they are finding the difference. Like we are more international in our approaches. So we are, first of all, we are following the Cambridge curriculum, we are following the British boarding system, we have diversity in our faculty members, we have diversity in our students. So that's why they're like they're getting the difference, and they're very much concerned. Like we had a very great legacy of schools in India, but by the time they all like disappeared, because we started from Nalanda, we talk about Takshashila and all. But nowadays we can't compare our universities, our national universities with the Takshashila and Nalanda. They don't have that much of popularity nowadays. So I think that's why parents are focusing more on Oxford, on Cambridge, and all these great universities abroad.
Faculty members pointed also to a similarity between Indian culture and British culture and a sort of alignment in the two educational systems. A number of these British boarding schools have campuses in China, in Thailand, in Malaysia, but India is still a relatively new market. Harrow and Wellington opened doors a mere 2 years ago, and Shrewsbury has just made inroads into India. In the next 5 years, 10 more such schools are expected to make inroads into India. Charterhouse, founded in 1611, is opening in Goa in 2027. Bedford will become the first girls' boarding school to enter India and will operate out of Mohali. Do you think when it comes to attracting students to Shrewsbury, India, the legacy of the school, does that play a role? The kind of history, the fact that it's this, over 400-year-old school, do you think that's a selling point for Indian parents as well?
So, well, very nearly 500 years old, and yes, it has to be. So if you think about the transaction that's happening between a boarding school and a parent, parents are sending their children to be looked after and developed by an institution, and so that institution has to be trusted by them. They have to have great confidence, and the very fact that the brand that we have, Shrewsbury, has been around for very nearly 500 years, demonstrates great success over that period of time. But I always make the observation that you don't stay successful for 500 years by looking backwards. For sure, traditions and heritage are important and valuable, but actually the great strength of Shrewsbury is about the fact it's always been very forward-looking, looking into the future, trying to work out and successfully working out what young people will need in order to thrive in the world that they will be joining.
Why not get someone uh, of that stature? If you say why we got only the British school, because I think uh, in India still Britain is considered to be the torch bearer of education, be it the higher eds or the university level. But slowly and steadily, if you see the numbers over the years, a lot of Indian students have started going to Britain to do schooling, and this number is increasing if you go back in last 3 to 4 years, which also shows that a lot of younger parents or parents of new age want a different kind of education which they've not been able to get in India. But obviously sending student their children to UK is not a very simple affair. It is expensive. So if we thought that if we can get that same quality of education in India at a fraction of a cost, more people will be looking forward to accept this kind of education. And I think that was pretty much the premises or the research, you would say, when we were planning to set up Shrewsbury India.
So, with say some of the other boarding schools, say, Harrow has come to India, but they've opened in Bangalore.
Yeah.
So, did you ever feel like, Bhopal? I mean, I understand that, institution building in Bhopal, I mean, that has been, your USP. But did you ever feel like Bhopal could be, a risky choice for opening this kind of school? Given the fact that these schools seem to say that okay, that their market and the demographic they're catering to is largely going to be from tier 1 cities. So I mean, during your market research, was this something you came across? I mean, did you ever feel like Bhopal was a risky bet to open a school of this kind?
I think that's a very common question. I've
Yeah.
got this question multiple times. I think if you see geographically, a lot of schools, especially the boarding schools, are either in top of the hill or they are down south. And central India, being one of the biggest area which is populated, has no really big international boarding school. They have the legacy schools, but no big schools. And if you see the connectivity pattern, Today, what parents are struggling is to reach a Good Shepherd, or for that matter, to reach a Doon, they have to literally change flights, drive by car, reach. Accessibility is an issue. And today, parents generally want one flight away or two flight away their kids to be, so that they can frequently visit, do easily thing. And I think if you see geographically how Bhopal is placed, it is pretty much center of the country. So you are away by 1 hour to most of the places.
This is Antara Barua reporting for The Print.